This podcast is part of the Zero to Hero Podcast Network.
AvenuePodcast.net.
Hello, all my beautiful people. It's time for another fun episode of If You Give a Dad a Podcast. And I just want to say thank you to everyone who is here listening right now. Whether this be your first time tuning into the show, or if you've been here the whole time, or even part of the time, I'm glad you guys are here listening now with me. And I think you guys are going to have a lot of fun listening to this episode. It's a guy that I'd never talked to before, actually, but we hit it off really fast, and we had a great conversation, and I'm really excited for you guys to hear this one. It is with Colby Jenkins. He is the owner of Cosmic Comics. He's a TikToker. He is a YouTuber. He's an all-around great guy. We talk about wrestling. We talk about comics. We talk about life, and I think you guys are going to enjoy every bit of this conversation. And for those of you who are here just to listen to the Colby Jenkins episode, welcome. I hope you enjoy what you hear, and I hope that you stick around and listen to some of the other great episodes I have here as well. So, if you guys are as excited as I am, then let's get this show on the road.
If You Give a Dad a Podcast.
You're bloody welcome!
You know?
Hey, Dad.
If I get my hand stuck in a pickle jar, I'm straight up bull in a china shop, just swinging around.
Started writing songs when I was about 12 or so.
Seriously?
They're retrofitting me now, and
I'm like, yes, finally.
I've also had the opportunity to go train with Hoist Gracie and Dan Severn.
Wow.
I like that. That's different. It stands out.
That day I took my very first bump and it was fun.
There's only one section to go to first.
Yeah.
Toys.
Bro.
I was like, no, man, surely this guy's not worked out that long.
I haven't laughed that hard since I was a little girl.
What?
Man, this guy won't shut up.
And just a reminder before we get started here, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to iGadap wherever it is you're listening to. Hit that notification bell so you are notified when a new episode drops. Also, make sure that you go out there and rate and review this episode. Tell me what you think of it. And the more people that do that, the more likely I am to be recommended to somebody else. Now, on to the show. All right, everybody. I think I have a really cool guest for you guys today. It's actually somebody that originally I found his videos on TikTok, and they were hilarious. I loved what I saw. He was doing pawn shop videos for trades and things like that. Well, I got to looking into his stuff a little more, found out that he's not too far away from me, and we actually know a lot of people. We have a lot of people in common that we know in the Oklahoma wrestling scene, and I'm all about that here. He is the owner of Cosmic Comics. He is, like I said, he's a TikToker. He has 1.6 million followers on there. He's also a YouTuber. He goes by Colby.Cheese on there, and I'm talking about Colby Jenkins. Man, how are you doing tonight?
Hey, Jared, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. I am excited to get on here and talk to you tonight.
Hey, I feel the exact same way, dude. This is the first time I'm doing something like this, so I'm super pumped about this.
That's awesome. I'm glad that you're here and that you're able to do this. I try to make this to where it's just a chill conversation. Oh
yeah, that's how I work.
Yeah.
Regardless, sometimes I can be overbearing, but that's just that can just be my personality. But I don't mean to be. It just happens.
Right on. So first off, I want to say congratulations on 1.6 million followers on TikTok. You have worked hard at that, and you have made some amazing content actually on there.
Thank you. I really do appreciate that a lot. It's no easy feat. And this has roughly been going into 4 years just working from the beginning of the pandemic. And it started out as just a way of expression. And Brandy, my wife, was like, hey, maybe you should do that TikTok app. And I was just like, don't people just do like dances in front of like a camera to a whole bunch of like songs? I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. And Yeah, I seen a couple meme videos and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I can be able to make some memes. So it just started out little stuff like that. And yeah, I'm at where I'm at now, and I'm very thankful for it. Unfortunately, there's the news. TikTok might be going away. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. So, all right, yeah, but yes, TikTok's super fun, and I appreciate that so much, man.
Yeah. So it just came out of just your wife suggested this. And did you start out with just like the normal videos, like the ones that I found at first were the in the pawn shop where you'd have somebody say, hey, I have these products. What can I get for them? Kind of thing. Is that where you started at, or were you starting off with doing just some of the trends and stuff?
I was lost where a lot of people really start with social media. A lot of people really want to start with trends, and trends, it's a good way to be able to understand a platform and kind of see what's going on.
Right.
But when it really comes down to it, you want to have a niche, and you got to have your own select audience. You're not going to be able to hit everybody. So you need to find something that appeals to you, that you're passionate about, and that other people might find entertaining or, passionate as well. And it pretty much just started, just doing the little, here's some funny sound, and I can make a quirky little, video that kind of goes with like my personality. But the pawn shop videos really didn't happen until I started at the shop, and I was learning about testing gold. And I was like, not a lot of people know about testing gold. And I was like, hey, this would be like a really cool thing. Let me just make a short on this, and we'll see what happens. And I got like 50,000 views.
Oh,
wow.
wow.
I'm like, okay, I might have done something here. So then I done something a little bit more elaborate, but I stayed to it.
Yeah.
I hit like 125,000. I'm like, oh, okay. And then Brandy's like, oh my God, you're famous. And I'm like, whatever. So, a few followers and stuff come along with that. But it really hit when I done these Assassin's Creed trading videos. And we just had there was probably 60 to 70 multiple different various copies of Assassin's Creed. And I thought, oh my God, how funny would it be if everything that he traded was just Assassin's Creed? And then you keep saying it over and over, the word just starts to blend.
Right.
And I do this video, and then like a week, 2 weeks go by, and it's like 1.6, 1.8 million, hitting 2 million. And I'm like, what is this? And then people are messaging me, and they're like, hey, there's these YouTubers that make like these animated shorts, and they're like doing you inside of a pawn shop, bringing in like a busted up copy of like Assassin's Creed, trying to trade it. There's like these other people that are like emulating you, and I'm like, I'm just, I don't know. And I just kind of just found a place. People really like the niche concept of a pawn shop.
Right.
And I mean, look at Pawn Stars. Look how long they've been on television. And it's a bunch of BS, but me, I was, trying to be lighthearted, bring jokes in different situations, because we know, of course,
right,
television is what television is.
Right.
But people love it, and they'd message me. They'd be like, hey, I've got this Xbox for sale. I don't have none of the cords with it. How much would you give me? and I'm just like, nobody's ever heard of eBay and used like completed sales before. So, it's just one of those things. But I'm truly thankful for so many fans and so many messages. Cool. And it just started from a simple suggestion. And, I wouldn't be doing what I would be doing right now if it wasn't for my wife. So she's pretty much my anchor. She's my rock and my stone. I sink her boat, but she keeps mine afloat.
Yeah, I totally get that. My wife is the same way. She's the one behind all of my merch. She is the one behind the name of this show, in fact. So yeah, no,
I like it. It is a very cool niche name. A dad with a podcast, right?
Yep. If you give a dad a podcast.
I like that.
Yeah.
I really do. Because most of it's like, something with somebody, or coffee time with Jim. And I really like that, dude.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wanted to do something that I could bring anybody on here, and I didn't want to be narrowed down to one thing. I'm a wrestling fan. I want to be able to talk
Yes.
about wrestling. I'm a comic
Yeah.
book guy. I want to talk about comics. I
Oh, of
love
course.
music. I want to talk about music. So
Mhm.
I told my wife, this is kind of what I want to do, but I don't know what to call it. And, I gave her a few names that I was thinking of, and she was like, I don't like those. And I was like, okay, well, and then she gave me that one. And, it's based off of If You Give a Mouse a Cookie, the book that we had as kids. And,
Never heard of that.
Okay. So it's about a mouse where they give him a cookie. Well, then he wants milk. Well, then he wants something else. And he keeps wanting more and more different things. So with this, I've had a wrestler. Okay. Well, now I want a comic book writer. Okay. Now I want a TikToker, and so I want more and more different things. And it allows me to be able to have anything that I want on the show.
I like that. That gives you a diversity of what you can be able to do.
Yeah.
I didn't know much about Theo Vaughn, and he would pop up on my feed and stuff from time to time, and I was like,
Right.
oh, this dude's kind of funny, but kind of annoying at the same time. But then over time, I have come to really like this dude, and one thing that I like about what he does is it's a diversity. Sometimes it's a celebrity, sometimes it's a carny. Like he just had carnies on there a couple weeks ago, explaining the trade, of carnivals and stuff like that. And I'm like, the dude throws darts all over the board, and I feel like that's a really smart thing to do, because if you stay one way, you will gridlock yourself.
Right.
And you never want to gridlock yourself.
Right. Well, I also remember when I first started doing this, there was a promoter that I knew, and that was, I was talking to him about having different wrestlers on the show, because I started this around the time I went to my first independent show, and he kept telling me, don't just stick to wrestlers, make sure you do other stuff. And I was like, okay, yeah, I will. And I'm so glad that I ended up, really finding more than just that, because there for a while I was probably 80% just wrestling on here. And,
so that gives you an 80% audience that will only focus
correct
on that one point.
Yep. And so whenever I was able to start bringing in other types of people, now, I mean, the numbers grow, and, you start to see that whenever you start to appeal to more different types of people.
Congratulations, Jared.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Hey, anytime. Hey, I'm just as happy to be here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I said, this is my first time doing this, so I'm probably more excited than you are.
I don't know, man. I'm pretty excited.
Well, I'm glad I could help, and you can help. So we're just scratching each other's backs.
There we go. Yeah.
There you go.
So I do have a question about the video still. How much of this is based on actual people that have come into, say, the pawn shop, or even now your comic book shop?
Oh man. So everything that I do takes somewhere from life, because the best things in life are the most natural, real things.
Right.
If you take something, you try to create a situation, sometimes it just feels unnecessary and it feels forceful.
Yeah.
So if you can take relatable material and apply that in some way, you can have other people just automatically click, hey, that works. So one thing that I've done, because I've had some videos where I like to do hillbilly stuff, because in my heart, I'm a country boy from North Carolina, from Asheville, and my dad, I take a lot of that inspiration from you're gonna have to bleep this one, but a lot of ignorant shit my dad would say or do. God bless his soul. I love him to death. But he is a big inspiration for a lot of that hillbilly stuff. And then you just take your normal cliche of a, redneck white dude. You throw in the NASCAR, you throw in the Budweiser, you give him a little bit of twang in his voice, and then all of a sudden you just got this crazy man that just don't know the difference between the Kmart or the Goodwill. It's the same place. It's just that finding that balance of certain things. Like, I would love to do voice acting.
Okay.
I think that would be super fun. I have ADD, so my bad that I get off subject, but yeah, doing totally that country voice, I would feel so comfortable if somebody be like, hey man, if you were to do that voice right there and just give for my country character, I think it would work perfect. It's just so relaxing. So yeah, getting back to what you asked, a lot of that does have some give or take. There is some embellishment, of course, because all entertainment has some embellishment. If there wasn't no embellishment, you'd be watching ghost hunting shows and they wouldn't do shit.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I love going and doing that. It's actually one of my little side hobbies that I like to go do whenever I have time.
Really?
Oh, dude, I am an avid believer in paranormal.
Okay.
But yeah, whenever you look at TV shows and that, you got to do something. If not, you got to keep the viewers going, kind of thing. You just can't have pictures of orbs and little noises and be like, oh my God, there's a demon.
Yeah.
Kind of situation.
Well, I mean, that goes back to one thing you were saying when it came to like Pawn Stars, even, they were like, stuff was planted for them to come in and they were keeping it entertaining, and same with anything else. You've got to, like you said, embellish a little, to make sure that it's make sure your audience is going to stay locked in.
True. Because we all have a much shorter attention span than what we did 10 years ago. And unfortunately that's because of our cell phone and social media compared to, we would be able to sit through certain things. And now we're so used to a skip button or pay an extra fee kind of situation that now being able to keep an audience attention is extremely hard. And one person that I say can do that the best, and if you can look at their formula, how it's replicated and the money that they spend, is Mr. Beast. The way that he can edit a video and be able, well, not him, but his crack job team of people that's figured out the algorithm of keeping attention span and movement and colors.
Yes.
It's crazy the money that is put into the scientific data for keeping a person's attention span for 30 seconds. It's wild.
Yeah, definitely. And I heard an interview with him. I think it might have been Joe Rogan that I was listening to, and the amount of just even him before he got the team that he has now, the amount of research and stuff that he put into it, it was a daily thing for him. I mean, I think he like flunked out of college because he was basically trying to figure out this YouTube thing. And, he just had such a passion for it that, he started figuring things out long before pretty much anybody else had.
When you got a key and you know how to be able to, you do, first off, you protect the key.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not you don't let everybody use that key because there's valuable information behind that door. And once you have put in that grind, which he did, I mean, he took his first good amount of money, he gave it to a random homeless person. Nobody was doing videos where you walked up and you gave somebody several racks of money. Right. You know what I mean? It's unheard of unless if you're watching like Publishers Clearinghouse on television or something. You know what I mean? Like that.
Exactly.
So you got Mr. Beast, which is Publisher Clearinghouse for young adults.
Exactly.
And then here comes the cars. Here comes the crazy stuff. But I like what he does, but I'm going to touch back to what you said earlier.
Mm-hmm.
You were interviewing 80% of wrestlers.
Yeah.
Once you have hit somebody with a plane, once you've hit them with a train and you have parked over them with a bus, what are you going to do at that point? So the future is what I would like to see, because we already know what he can do now. And I love his mind. He's incredibly smart. Yes, there's been some bad things, but that's how you learn. Right. It's from mistakes. So I think he's going to be one of the people in the next space that we don't know of yet.
Yeah. Okay.
If that makes any sense. Once you're at that kind of a level, there's other things that, there's stuff we don't know.
Right.
I want to see what he's going to do next, to be honest with you. I don't watch any of his videos now, but I find it interesting that he can put something out and he gets 30 million views, in under 10 hours.
Right.
And I'm just like,
he still has the younger audience, definitely. My son, he is, he's 12 and Mr. Beast, he loves seeing those videos and stuff. So he's locked in with that younger generations. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it really falls into the mind of, hey, I'm this young person. Oh, that's crazy. What if that could happen to me? What if Mr. Beast put me in that situation? And
Right.
I think that's what locks a lot of kids in with like Fortnite.
Yep.
And I don't really think it's them playing the game. It's just them. What if I'm with people? I get to hang out with people. What
Yeah.
if we were better friends and we get to do more stuff? And
Right.
I really, it doesn't. And I think that's what held me in at games whenever I was younger,
Yeah.
on PC, whenever they were a lot bigger. It was more about the community and,
Yes.
cussing with older people and just hanging out,
Yeah.
and a lot of my horrible profanity I learned from my dad and, playing Counter-Strike 1.6. so yes, a lot of my profanity comes from there. But and I really think a lot of that falls to community, and Mr. Beast is a comfort zone. It's like Disney Channel.
Right.
But for that new generation of audience.
Exactly. So there's a video of yours that just came out, and your videos are great. I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you that it's I actually am pretty excited whenever a new one comes out that I see, and I know
you're making me smile.
You had one that came out, and I actually need to ask you about this. You might be explaining it in another video, but I'm not for sure.
Yes.
The bottle cap.
Uh-huh.
What so I know it's a Fallout reference.
Yes.
Are you going to do another follow-up video for that, or what was the significance of this specific bottle cap?
So how my videos kind of work and how it kind of works with my brain. And I like to think about pop references, kind of what's going on.
Right.
I'm a huge Fallout fan.
Me too. Yeah.
I didn't play the original ones. I was first introduced at 3.
Okay.
Because I didn't have that kind of good money whenever I was younger to really have a PC. So during that short time that I did have a PC, I was playing Counter-Strike,
Yeah.
And I wasn't locked into like Diablo and other games like that. So I had a very niche experience to PC gaming, and Fallout 3 comes out, and my little brother gets it, and he's like, oh, you're going to have to bleep it. And he's like, I fucking hate this game. It's so hard. It's so stupid. And I'm like, oh, come on, man. It can't be that bad. It can't be that bad. So I got into it. I got lost in the vault at the very beginning. I was already frustrated. And then I make it to Megaton, and then they send me through that sewer system, and I'm completely lost. I have no idea like how the compass actually works, because certain doors don't go to certain places that point on the compass. So, Bethesda bugs, the typical Bethesda thing. So I was like, fuck this. I will never play this game ever again. Several months later, I got the bug. Somebody told me, they were like, bro, Fallout is so good. And I'm like, you're smoking meth. You are so out of this world, bro. And they're like, no, you need to go back. So I went back, I played it, and he kind of explained to me how the tunnels worked, because that's where I just stopped.
Okay.
And from then that point on, I went back, and Bethesda locked me in. I'm a Bethesda fan for life, even though they give us a lot of half-baked things sometimes.
Right. Yeah.
Fallout is just so comfortable to me.
Yeah.
So trying to make the story a little bit shorter on that. So I like to use pop reference things, and Fallout is one thing that I love in my heart. So I ordered an NCR flag the other day. So spoiler.
I saw that.
I'm not trying to hint at anything that might be happening in the future, but
okay.
The people were super nice, and they sent me a bottle cap with it taped to the piece of paper. And I'm like, that's cute.
Yeah.
So I was sitting there, and I was bagging some comics the other day, and I look up, and there sits the bottle cap. And I'm like, wouldn't it be funny, like, if somebody came in and they wanted to buy something on my shelf that was like exorbitantly expensive.
Right. Yeah.
But all they had was a bottle cap. But the guy realized, oh, he loves it so much, so he'll just trade it. And I was like, oh, that's so basic white bitch. So I was like, I want to get a little bit more in depth with that. So I was like, what if, because my Gears gun, as always, I haven't featured it very much, but the couple videos that I have, people's asked about it. Hey, send it to me, ship it to me, I'll buy it from you.
Right.
So I was like, what if he finds the gear gun? Everybody likes the gear gun and some of the other dumb stuff that I display. For some reason, people love that parking meter. I still get questioned. I've been getting questions for 3 years about that damn parking meter. But not to get sidetracked.
Oh, yeah, no, you're good.
So I figured, I was like, okay, what happens if he finds the Lancer and he's like wanting to trade it up, and he pulls out the bottle cap, but the bottle cap is a real bottle cap from the Fallout universe. So my thing was, if you seen that he was looking at it with the monocle a little bit more in depth, he jumped right to it, like going ahead and take it. And then I took this little black controller that I had, and I was like, nobody's going to know if this is a Geiger counter or not. I've had people ask me, where did I buy that Geiger counter? It's a remote for lights inside of my shop.
That's funny.
So I done that, and to indicate, oh my God, it's radiated. Why would he have the bottle cap? If it's radiated, it has to be from there. And how the dude was like, my grandfather worked for the Institute or some section of the government, something like that kind of thing. So I was leaving like little hints that this is an actual bottle cap from the Fallout universe. How does these items get into our universe? Because we're in universe A. Okay.
Right,
and I'm not even thinking ahead. I'm just trying to be explaining.
Yeah.
So we're in universe A. How are all these things coming from these other universes? I might be getting a little bit further ahead of myself there.
Yeah.
But it was just kind of a combination of my ADD brain, some things that I had, pop references. It's literally like making chili.
Yeah.
That's the best way of doing it. It's just a whole bunch of shit at one time. And then you kind of hope for the best after you've done it a few times,
Right.
It literally is. Doing content is like cooking. After you know how you've baked that pie several times, you can either get better at making that pie by continuously baking it, or you can be able to expand. And then I'm like, what about some souffle? Oh, you're going to mess up those first 50 souffles. But
right.
That 51, you stay on top of it, you're going to have that first good souffle.
Yeah.
If you read into the things that I say, I don't try to tell somebody straightforward. So I try to use like little subliminal things. Just keep cooking those souffles, guys. Eventually you're going to get a good souffle.
Yeah. Man, I like the way your brain works, especially when it comes to when you were explaining the Fallout and everything. It's a lot the way that I would do that. And, I really like that. That's a good way to explain it, I mean, and I can't wait to see more videos like that in there, because I know I've seen at least one other one where somebody was like, here, I want to trade this. And you were like, yeah, take whatever you want. And they ended up taking pretty much everything in the store almost. And then you're like, wait, what happened?
Like, I'm going to be honest with you. It comes back to getting hit with a plane, train kind of situation. There's only so many things you can give away and so much you can be able to do.
Right.
So one of my hurrahs was, the dude just gets the keys to the store.
That's right. Yeah.
And one of them, the dude like took a lot of good stuff. And most of the time it's usually the guy getting screwed because he wants the junk that's in the store, because everybody portrays a pawn shop as, being very shisty, are just being loaded with a whole bunch of broken things that's like 50% more than what you would go buy it brand new out of the box. And I can understand that, that's just the perception kind of thing. And there is a lot of people in that category that still have those bad practices like that, and I wanted to be that person whenever you either seen the video or you actually come in and you got to shop with us, you would see we're not like that, somebody comes in, you would usually get 60 to 70% of what your value is. Most people, for you to be able to make your money back, you have to at least be at 60% over an item. So we were operating on a small margin. Most of the time our money was from like guns, because it's Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Oh my dude, a farmer comes in, he's like, man, I got this 350, this Smith and Wesson 357. I ain't even shot this son bitch yet. I want $600 for it. And you're like, bro, I can't give you 6 because they're 9 brand new, but I can meet you at 4. It's one of those situations, because we couldn't sell it new if he never came. And then you have to think, is that person going to come back for that loan? Am I going to be nice enough? You have to hold an item and maximum amount of days. So as an example, modern technology, let's say you go to Walmart right now, Jared, and you go buy one of those $199 little HP laptops. Okay. And you come and you want to pawn that to a pawn shop. 9 times out of 10, brand new in the box, they're probably going to be like, well, I'll give you $100 for it. Okay. And people think, I paid $200 for that. You're just trying to rip me off. Here's the thing, and I'm not sticking up for either side. I'm just trying to tell you, just how the business kind of works on that end. You have to hold an item for X amount of days by law, depending on what state you're in. So if that person never comes back, and I've held that laptop in that box for X amount of days, how many times that laptop went on sale at Walmart? How many times has somebody bought a pallet of those and thrown them up on eBay for $129, $149? So a lot of people, and it's not their fault. They're just in their own reality, in their own world. So they're worried about getting to that next day. So they're not thinking in the long run kind of situation. And we would try to be nice and, explain to people. And we always took care of our good customers. We had very good repeat clientele. And that's the biggest thing in business. People don't realize repeat clientele is what keeps your store open. You can have 100 new people come in a year. I would much rather have 25 repeat people come in every month for that year than just 100 continuous new people. Repeat is always the best thing when it comes for clientele, taking care of your customers. And I know I kind of got sidetracked there, which you originally had asked me. That kind of happens.
No, that's totally fine. I'm totally cool with that. It's kind of the way the show goes.
No, that it is seriously. That's how they go. Like I listen to Jim Cornette every day. Jim Cornette is the best. You may hate me, never want to listen to another thing that I ever say again, or you might unfollow me. I don't care whatsoever. Jim Cornette is the 100% truth whenever it comes to professional wrestling, how professional wrestling is supposed to be told, how it's supposed to be done the exact way. And I know time has changed, but he'll get onto a tangent and we'll be, he'll be talking about, Bobby the Brain Heenan, and all of a sudden we're talking about his garbage disposal. It's just one of them things. And podcast and just talking in general. It just happens. That way.
Well, I tell just about.
I'm a Jim Cornette guy.
There's not a thing wrong with that. I grew up watching Jim Cornette on WCW, man. So
God, some of the best suits. Some of the best suits. Did you see Adam Pearce's suit the night of the draft?
No, actually, I didn't. I didn't get to see it.
He had on the red Jim Cornette looking suit with the black pocket square. Yeah, Pat McAfee was like, "Go grab the tennis racket, Adam." And then, Adam got all of the flack from, I hate to say it, and I'm not trying to point anything out, but the AEW audience was just mercifully just went after poor Adam, just dressing, like a legend.
Right.
But we're the toxic ones. Okay. I'm just going to get off. I'm going to get off that subject.
Oh man, that's a touchy subject too. So
very,
Oh.
you know, and okay, I will. I'm gonna open that Band-Aid just for a second.
Okay, all right.
I'm not a WWE guy. I'm not an AEW guy. I'm not a GCW guy. I'm not a New Japan guy. I'm a professional wrestling guy. I'm not an indie guy. I like all wrestling. And one of my buddies, I love to pick on him because he is a Bucks fan and I'm a Punk fan through and through.
All right.
And I'll go onto his page. I'll leave a little GIF of Punk. He'll come onto my page. He'll leave, a little GIF of the Bucks. And, and it's not like we hate each other. It's just we're, jabbing, ribbing each other as the boys would say. I shouldn't say that or they'll beat me out in the parking lot. But but yeah, we take those little jabs at each other because we know how the community is.
Right.
And it's sad that we just can't focus on wrestling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's either you're that person or you're that person. And if you don't like my style, then F you.
Yeah.
And
it
I'm just
shouldn't
like,
be that way.
I'm just like, hey, that's cool. If you like 36 cartwheels and 2 drop kicks and that's what you call wrestling, hey, that is perfectly fine by me.
Right.
And if you say that a rest hold is wrestling, you're the person that's making up things because there's no such thing as a rest hold. So that's a term that's just been created by. Right. I'm not even going to say the word, but because I feel that I can't say that word because I am not. That is not my profession. But yeah, let's go on to the next question before. But we can come back to wrestling. No problem.
Oh yeah, I'm always down to talk about that.
Oh God, yeah. We can sit here and we can talk about Brett all night if you want to. How long do you got? We can talk about Brett. We can talk about Punk. We can talk about we can keep going. But now, whatever you're ready for, Jared.
I'm sitting here and I'm looking at my bookshelf. I've got Hitman. It's staring right at me. So
there you go. The best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. And people will say Brad ain't nothing but a crybaby. That's all he does is still cry. If an untrained person kicked me in the head and ended my career, I'd be pretty mad. And if there was literally billions of dollars that's been left on the table and the same people went and done the same thing that Brett could not do because he was put in the position he should have been put in.
Right.
Like poor little, oh God, what is her name? Maxine Dupree. Oh my God. I did not like her at all. Okay. And this stuff has been happening with Alpha Academy. And then there at the beginning, she kind of, started, because I'm a huge Chad Gable fan.
Oh,
poor guy's he's been buried for years.
Yeah. It's not fair.
But no, not at all. So seeing her and there's some people in some situations you don't put in, and Maxine is one of them.
Yeah.
She shouldn't be out there right in front of everybody on Raw. You can be able to see the green that's still there. And then she gets fans that come at her sideways. That's not her fault. She's doing her job.
Right.
She has to do that. And she's a good example of a prospect of a good, solid mid-card person.
Mm-hmm.
That is just put in the wrong spot because they're not even at mid-level yet.
Yeah.
And another side tangent, but it's just one of them things that unfortunately happens.
It is. Yeah. So we're going to kind of switch over just a little bit here. And you have a comic book shop, which just opened. It was last month, I believe is when you opened, correct?
Yeah. We've my actual first opening day was April Fool's Day, believe it or not. Nice. April the 1st was my first opening day, and it was a little bit of a soft open. It wasn't anything crazy.
Yeah.
And then I started getting packages, and then I started getting stickers on my door left from UPS. They're like, hey, you need to be here at this time. And I'm like, oh my God, how can I do this and still work a full-time job?
Yeah.
So I went and I talked to the owner of GoPon, and my voice kind of broke there a little bit, but it kind of hits home a little bit because we're super fucking cool and chill.
Yeah.
But yeah, we kind of had to have that talk. I'm like, man, I love running your store. You've taught me, a lot just being here, because I've always been a little hustler ever since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I've had other advancements and different things in life, but it's just never been what I've wanted to do.
Right.
And just recently, within like the past 5 years, that's kind of come into fruition. It's kind of, I don't know, the bridge has been, it's being built, kind of thing.
Right.
So I went and I talked to him, and I'm like, hey, I got to be there for these deliveries, and I'm gonna have to, I'm gonna have to be full time at the shop. So yeah, like barely a week later, going into my second week, I was full time at the shop.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been full time there since about going into the second week of, what was it, April. And it's been phenomenal.
Awesome.
Like, yeah, dude, I really can't say, and I can't express the words or put them together in a simile or any way to explain how I feel.
Yeah.
There's not a word in the dictionary that can explain that kind of feeling.
Right.
And I thought getting to social media would help. It doesn't. And I know a lot, and I'm being 100% honest with that. I don't know how many people have told me, bro, if one of my videos blows up, I ain't gonna have to worry about shit. And I'm like, I worry about shit every day. What are you talking about? And I'm not even like up there like some other people are.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, one of the gentlemen, and I know you guys have seen him before, and I know that you have too, Jared. His name is Jason's Dad's Life. Jason's Life.
Okay. Yeah.
He actually, his wife owns a boutique inside of that same tiny mall. That dude has 13.8 million followers. So whenever you're talking about like vast levels of people saying you've made it, there's people don't. It's like thinking about money. When you're broke.
Yeah.
Once you get that first $100, you feel like you're rich. Or when you're a kid and you get all those stack of ones for your birthday, but it's only $15.
Yeah.
It's that same kind of like feeling, but people looking in at a bubble on you.
Right.
And, social media, even if I had 1 trillion followers and I never had to work another day in my life, that would not satisfy me. My satisfaction comes from the things that I deeply want to do, and getting to social media was just a expressway that I was trying to use to get to another target, and there's some other people, they'd be like, man, I'd be happy to have, that many followers, or pull out a Lambo or some shit, No, I'm happy with an Amazing Spider-Man 300 first appearance of Venom 9.8 coming into my shop. And I'm like, that hits me, and those books and just things like that, as being a seller and a collector, flipping online or selling, privately to people over years, you've always had to scrounge for those books or fight other people or do those crazy journeys or destinations to find these little gems. And I always thought, I get the pawn shop, not the pawn shop. I get my comic book shop, and these people will bring it to me. It's just like that movie, the baseball, if you build it, they'll come.
Yeah.
My first 2 weeks, I had 3 ASM 300s brought to me. That's first appearance of Venom. Those in low grades are like $300 a pop.
Oh, wow.
I'm not going to go into depth of other things, but I'm just saying, when you need to get to a point and you can feel it in your heart, that's what you need to go with your heart. And I, just like I said, I love every moment that I'm at the comic book shop. The first month there, because now I've got a little bit more lazier and I'm not waking up at like 6:30 in the morning after sleeping only 3.5 hours. So you go into the shop. So now I'm getting there at an appropriate time, like 9 and 10, like I'm supposed to.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's phenomenal, Jared. It really is.
That's awesome. Yeah, I can tell that, you're enjoying this. I can hear the smile whenever you talk about it, because it's just, when you're doing something that you love, yes, it can still be work, because I talked to you I think last week, and you're like, man, this has been like one really long week because I haven't stopped.
And I'm not lying whenever I told you that, Jared. I have not.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. Like last Thursday I took off a day, but it wasn't a day to go off. I went and drove to pick up over 3,000 books.
Oh wow.
So I could, and those are dollar books from my customers, and these are like $3 and $5 books. They can come in and get 10 of these for $10. There's nowhere where you tell me, Jared, where can you actually go and buy something for $1 now? You can't even go to the Dollar Tree.
No, they're $1.25, and I heard they're going to $1.50.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I give something that has all levels for everybody, whether if you're, because I know what it's like to grow up and be poverty stricken.
Yeah.
And eat, stuff that you don't want to eat because you got to.
Yep.
And I can provide something for our community,
cool.
Whether if, because there's struggling families and there's struggling people. Yep. And if somebody can come in and they can, spend a couple bucks, and and you can look and you can assess certain situations, and you can help people, and that means they're going to come back. And even though I'm not making that money off them, I have a customer for life.
There you
go.
I
would rather have a customer for life.
Yeah, I totally get that. And I'm wholeheartedly behind that philosophy.
Yes.
So I know you've already mentioned the first time Venom showed up in the comic. What would you say is the coolest thing that has come into your shop? Would you say that was it?
I'm going to say this just for insurance reasons.
Okay.
there's some cool stuff in Altus, guys. I just want people to know.
Yeah.
You might think comic books are for kids. There's two sides of every coin, and not always every grass is always greener on the other side.
Yeah.
I'll say that much.
Okay. All right.
Just to be safe.
Yeah. No, I totally get it. Yeah.
I mean, that's why my door, and I have two signs on the inside that says that I'm strapped. So I mean, if you want to come in and you want to be stupid, I would hate to have to go to bed with that on my conscience, but
play stupid games, get stupid prizes.
Hey man, and that's one of the worst prizes you can win.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you're obviously a comic book guy. What is your favorite? What is your favorite comic book to read?
Can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
I don't read them anymore because I've got to the point that I don't like touching them because of certain, just because not all of them are collectors.
Right.
But some of them are. Every now and then I'll grab one and, I'll look through it as the dollar stuff. But my favorite, I love at this point, because I know all the stories, I know all the arcs. If I want to read or reread anything, Kindle, I can go to YouTube or Audible, I can listen. Yep. My favorite thing now, to be honest with you, is just enjoying the art, the covers.
Yeah.
Because you don't always see the beautiful ones because they're usually rolled up. They were stuck in some kid's pocket, thrown underneath, a couch. They're tattered, torn. But whenever you see some of these old, Silver Age 60s covers, and they're this red and black usually gets faded so easily. And you just see these vibrant colors and you're like, this is a 70, 80-year-old book that was not meant to be collected, that was printed on the cheapest paper.
Yep.
And it's a form of art to me.
Right.
As well, because some of them I could just hang and just look at them, never even read them because I know what's there, and I just get the enjoyment, of seeing like Black Suit Spider-Man, the 252 ASM, Amazing Spider-Man 252. Is an iconic cover to me because it was actually one of the first books that I bigger books that I sold on a live sale. So back whenever Facebook used to be the thing.
Yeah.
Before people were actually live selling on there, we were like one of the first few people to jump into that market and kind of do that. And I was only doing it locally, and I was just garage selling. So instead of doing an actual garage sale, I would do a live garage sale, and like I'm making like $300-400 selling like shit once a month. And I'm like, oh dude, this is paying like a bill or two. And I found some of my comic books and some people bought them. And then one day I was just scrolling, because you know how algorithm happens kind of thing. And this was early adaptation of algorithm. And then it started showing me lives, and I seen people doing comics, and I'm like, what am I doing with my life? Kind of situation. So one of the first books that I sold was an Amazing Spider-Man 252, which is a black suit appearance of Spider-Man, iconic cover.
Right.
My buddy Greg sold it to me, and he was like, hey, you sell these books, we'll do some business. And I sold them. He come at me with a first appearance of Black Panther, FF52, and he was like, hey, you sell this for $600, we'll do more business. I sold it to him, sold it for $600. He cut me a commission, and you know, I've been in that space kind of ever since. And I've come out once or twice, just because the passion goes away, because the market gets over flooded by speculation, variant covers, 10 covers for one book, and it's the exact same book. And you know, and I go back to saying what I like about covers. I'm talking about like old school covers. Like today, you can get all that new shit and look at it all you want to. Like old stuff, I can look at old covers all day. New stuff, whatever, it's dime a dozen. But like for real. And it's just to the point that I just fell out a couple times. And I'm not going to mention the company's name, but the company come to me and they were like, hey, we'll pay you X, Y, and Z. And then we're going to give you these limited books that are selling on here for this much. And we're going to give you like 20 of those. And I'm like, you guys are going to pay me this much to do this? And I was like, oh, okay, I'll do this. So I started working with this company for a little bit, and I started, you know, doing some stuff on there. And then my sales at the end, whenever everything started clearing, was more lighter than what it should have been.
Gotcha.
So it kind of pulled me out, and I was like, man, I can't sit here and just, you know, give this shit away and pay for shipping and shipping supplies.
Right.
You know, you guys can't piggyback like that. And I backed out and I left. Kind of thing, and I put it on pause. And I stopped cold turkey with any comic books, and complete cold turkey. And then I sold my collection.
Oh wow!
And I sold it. I was done. I was so fed up. And one day we went to Carolina Comics, which is over in Lawton. Big shout out to Carolina Comics. You guys have to go check them out. Karen and Greg own that over there in Lawton. They're over in front of the mall. You guys definitely, if you guys are comic book people, go check them out all the way. Warhammer, tabletop, Pokemon, anything and everything nerdy. Go check them out.
Cool.
So I just went by there randomly one day, and Brandy picked up a book, and it was an Amazing Spider-Man, and it had a new character, and her name is Hallows Eve. And Brandy has never collected any books. So you've got this Halloween pumpkin looking caped chick on the front, and she's like, oh, I want this one. Then she looks underneath, and there's like 7 variants for this one, and she buys them all.
That's
cool. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, I like this character. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm going to buy these. I'm like, whatever. And so, we go back for the release in like 2 more weeks. And long story short, I start buying again. Because my wife puts me back on track, back on the right path.
There you go.
Yeah, long story short, I buy several collections, buy several key books. I'm doing some stuff and I'm gearing up. And
That's
I'm just
cool.
gearing and I'm gearing. And I have no actual sight of seeing a store.
Yeah.
I'm just buying at a good deal and just grabbing everything up.
Yeah.
And one day I'm in Lawton and I'm at this store and this box of Amazing Spider-Man, the good stuff.
Okay.
And the deal that was made on it, like, was unfathomable. And I got into the car with Brandy and I looked right at her and I said, I'm fucking done with it. I'm opening a comic book store. I'm tired of missing out on these opportunities.
Right.
And like I said, three of those Amazing Spider-Man that I was wanting, I just out of that collection walked in within the first 2 weeks.
Wow.
So it was a series of unfortunate events. And I'm not plugging the book.
Right.
or the horrible adaptation movie that they gave us.
I didn't even finish it.
It was bad.
Yeah.
And then they tried doing the remakes of them and it was just as bad.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Jim Carrey is the only saving grace for almost anything, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But yeah. So it just turned into one of those things. I just kind of just quit there and I got back into it by, the grace of, my wife. And I'm not always a spiritual person. I should be, to be honest with you, Jared, just because there's a lot of things that happen in life. When you look back at it, you're like, man, that can't be a coincidence.
Right.
Because I could sit here and I could tell you, we could talk all day long about just wild stuff.
Yeah.
And I think coincidence is a easy word.
Yeah.
That we use. I think the word that we should start using for a lot of things is fate, because a lot of this is meant to happen. Right. And I really feel, that I was put back on a track and I was off that track.
Yeah. Yeah.
For quite some time.
Well, I'm glad you're back on it now,
Yeah.
So, man, we are coming up close to a close here and everything, and I just have a few more questions for you.
Yeah, no
before
worries,
I get you
worries.
off of here.
No, dude, you're perfectly fine.
Man, I'm really having a great time. Yeah,
and, I've already knocked out my chores because you were like, "Hey, I'm going to be a little behind," so I just went out there and hopped on the mower, cut the yard real quick, got that done, knocked out the shower, and I was like, "Shit, I'm ahead."
So, if people want to follow you online, where can they do that at?
The best way to be able to do it is most of the social media handles are always Colby.Cheese.
Okay.
So whether if that's YouTube, and TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, most of that you can be able to find me by Colby.Cheese. Now, granted, there is a lot of fake info accounts kind of thing. So I mean, if you just kind of just look at like numbers and pictures, you can kind of deduce who is who kind of situation.
Right,
yeah. But yeah, it's primarily Colby.Cheese for everything. And that's a one thing. If anybody's really wanting to get into social media, make sure you got a simple name. Something that people remember.
Right.
It's catchy.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to remember Alexander 137654 Halo player.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if you really are serious about it, just like you with your podcast, you gotta have something that stands out and sticks to you. And people walk into the grocery store, they see Colby.Cheese, they think of me, Colby.Cheese, and it's like it's like I was just playing off that factor of things that people see in the world,
right?
All around them. And if my name can connect in some way that reminds you of something, then I know that you'll think of me, or my name will make you think of something. It's all marketing.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not making hardly anything, that's all it is. It's all marketing.
I like it. So is there anything else maybe that you want to bring up before I get you off of here?
Oh man, if there's anything else that you want to ask or any other questions, I mean, you're more than welcome. If there's anything you want to shoot from the hip and just kind of ask, I'm here for it. I love off the cuff kind of questions.
Yeah,
you know, like the shit where people are like, all right, you know, what kind of French toast do you really like? It doesn't have to be that seductive, but
I was like, oh my.
Yeah. Oh, I like a nice eggs Benedict.
Oh man. I get the feeling that this isn't going to be the last time that you're going to be on this podcast.
I think so.
Yeah. So we're going to have to keep in contact. Man, I've really enjoyed talking to you tonight.
Hey, man, me too, Jared. I really do appreciate it very much. I do want to plug the store one time. That is Intercosmic Comics, and you can be able to come see me at 1116 North Main inside of the Altus Plaza Mall. Yes, Altus actually has a mall. It's right there where the Billy Sims is. Yeah, I know. I didn't even know there was an inside to it too. So go figure, everybody. I'm sorry, but yes, come and see us at Intercosmic Comics. Yeah, we've got some cool keys, banger stuff. We've got a children's section. And here's another thing. I have a lot of parents that come in and they want their kids to read. So they'll buy those $10 books and they're like, you're fucking reading tonight. They don't say those exact words, but I know that's what they're thinking in their mind. So parents would come to me and they'd be like, hey, what is age appropriate for my child? Or where do I need to start them? Mm-hmm. So what I done was I made a small little section and ordered books that are kindergarten to third grade. So it's easy. You can look right at it. It says Minecraft. It says Lego. It's easy for parents to digest. Now, they can see it and they see Fortnite. They're like, all right, you know, I understand what that is. And my kid can read that and it's age appropriate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool with that. So like I said, children's section, we've got that 10 for $10 section, keys, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic the Gathering, vintage Pokemon, and we're always buying comic books.
Awesome. I think I saw a few Funkos in there too, didn't I?
Yeah, I got a few Funkos. I'm not a big Funkos fan.
Okay.
To be honest with you.
Yeah.
They kind of sell, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, because here's the thing. You're getting to something niche. Not everybody collects Funko.
Right.
But somebody will collect a Demon Slayer Funko just because it is a certain character, or Death Note, something like that. I'd say I'm not an anime fan, but I hear that all the time. So I know, because I know to buy it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like why would I buy some dumbass Skittles Funko that I know that's not going to sell?
Right. Yeah.
It's just all about you. I'll tell you, one mentor that taught me years ago, whenever I first really started getting into doing comic books, before I really jumped into the deep end.
Yeah.
And Brandy still tells it whenever somebody asks us the same question. You buy what you know.
Yep. That makes sense.
Yes, sir, Jared.
All right, man. Well, I am going to talk to you more after we end this recording, but we're going to say bye to everybody else here. And I hope you have a great evening. And thank you so much for being on the show.
Hey, Jared, I really do appreciate it. Thank you guys for listening. And again, my name is Colby.Cheese. You might care, you probably don't care. But I just appreciate you guys for listening, and thank y'all, and have a good, safe night.
All right. A dad joke of the week. All right, let's get this. Dad joke of the week.
Finally, he's gone off to rehearse his dad jokes. I thought he was never going to leave. Well, if you guys don't know who I am, my name is Mark, and I am the Red Cornish Ranger on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, most places, to be honest. You can go find me. And I've snuck into Jared's recording room to basically promote myself a little bit, and I want to promote my GoFundMe page. Now, you're probably asking yourself, why is this guy asking for GoFundMe? Well, what is happening is I'm hoping to go to a Comic-Con close to me in Newport, Wales, in the UK, and I'm going to meet David Yost, the original Mighty Morphin Blue Power Ranger, and I'm hoping to take my family with me. So basically, I'm asking for some help. You can go to my GoFundMe page, which is on my link tree in my bio on TikTok and Instagram. You can also help me by...
Oh, man. Okay. Yeah. Hold on, coming.
You can also help me by subscribing to my Patreon page, where you will get a shout out on every episode of my podcast called Nerds Through Comics, and you will also get a personal message and a shout out on my TikTok. You can also do this through Cameo as well, but obviously that's only a one-time offer. And I am also opening a merch store where I'll be selling some t-shirts with my lovely face on the majority of them. That's not a bad dad joke. But speaking of bad dad jokes, I better get out of it before Jared turns back up. Catch you guys later.
Wait, was somebody just in here? Hello?
Wrestling fans, Diamond State Wrestling returns to the Diamond Dome on Saturday, June 15th with exciting professional wrestling action. The Diamond Dome is located beside the Next Level Soccer Center. Catch the stars of Diamond State Wrestling like Pineapple Jack, Classically Violent William J. Blackwell, and the Diamond State Heavyweight Champion, the Ruthless King, Alexander Gold. Ticket prices start at $15. You can get information and purchase tickets at DiamondStateWrestling.com.
Friday, June 7th, Brantford Wrestling returns to the Knights of Columbus in the beautiful city of Brantford, Ontario, Canada. Come witness a full night of exciting wrestling action with the main event of Pretty Ricky Wilde defending the Brantford Wrestling Championship against Jeff Black in Brantford's first dog collar match. If Jeff Black loses, he will never get another chance at Pretty Ricky Wilde's Brantford Wrestling Championship. However, if Ricky Wilde loses his match and his championship, he will never be allowed to wrestle in Brantford again. Come witness the stakes, the drama, the excitement with Brantford Wrestling at the Knights of Columbus on Friday, June 7th.
All right, everybody. I hope that you enjoyed that episode with Colby Jenkins. He was amazing to talk with. I really had a great time. And I'm going to be having him back on the show again. I'm not sure when yet, but it is going to happen. Talk to him a lot more after the episode, too. And he's just an all-around cool guy. And I just want to say thank you to him for being on the show and taking time out to come on here and talk with me. While you're waiting on another episode of I Adapt to drop, make sure that you go and follow my podcast networks, the OIW Podcast Network, the Zeo to Hero Podcast Network, and the Avenue Podcast Network. They all have unique shows on them. They have amazing shows on them. No matter what you're looking for, you can find something that you will enjoy on these, whether it be a story or a life lesson, or you just want to hear some people talk about comics or toys or something. You can find it on one of these networks. Go out there, show them some love, and yeah. So, as you know, I have merch out. If you need any of that, if you'd like a t-shirt or hoodie or a coffee mug or whatever it is that you're looking for, make sure that you go and send me an email and tell me what size you need, and we'll get that shipped out right to you. My wife does all the merch. She does it with Cups and Teas by Stasha. It's her little side hustle that she has going on. She's now the merch lady for Original Geek as well. And she makes all of my merch, and she's amazing at what she does. And go out there and show her some love. I will have a link to her stuff in my show notes. She has an Etsy page with stickers and all kinds of cool stuff like that as well. So make sure that you go and follow her stuff. As you're listening to this, you hear a song at the very end, and the man who does that is D-Cure. He's all the time creating amazing music, and he made that song for me for the end of this show, and I thank him for that. He is an awesome dude, and if you like the way that song sounds, make sure that you go and follow him, because he does all kinds of really cool music. So as you heard me talking just a second ago, you heard me bring up Original Geek. I am now a part of Original Geek myself, and I am very grateful to be a part of this amazing crew. As you heard last week, I talked with Luke Smith, who is a fellow OG member, and we've got some really cool stuff coming up. As I'm talking to you right now, it is Tuesday night, and I am about to leave to go to MetrothemCon in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I am very excited to be doing this. As you are listening to this episode, you've probably seen me posting stuff about being at MetrothemCon, and I expect more stuff like that happening. We've got some really cool stuff coming up. Nick will be at Saline County Expo as a guest there in June. We will be a guest at Nerds Assemble Con in Jonesboro in July. We've got all kinds of cool stuff coming up. I am going to be spearheading a new project that we will be doing soon, and expect some really cool stuff from Original Geek. We're going to be having an audio drama that's coming out, and I'm very excited to be able to bring all these different mediums to you, and to be a part of this creative crew that we have here. So just stay tuned for all the different announcements that will be coming out. Also, we have Beyond the Panels. We will be recording another episode of that at MetrothemCon. So as you're listening to this, it's probably already been recorded. So kind of like what Luke said last week, it's like time travel. I'm talking about stuff that's already happened, but when I'm sitting here, it hasn't quite happened yet. So anyways, like I said, stay tuned, and we've got some really cool stuff that's coming up with Original Geek. As you know, I have some new really cool stuff that's going on with If You Give a Dad a brand, and that is If You Give a Dad a YouTube channel, and If You Give a Dad a Cosplay. Two of my really good friends actually are the hosts of those shows, and they bring out really awesome original content. And so make sure that you go out there and follow them. I'll have a link to them in my show notes as well. Be expecting more cool stuff like that coming up soon, because I have a lot of ideas when it comes to different ways to go with this brand, and I just want to see it grow. So as you hear me talking, you hear me talk about social media, and if you want to follow me on any type of social media, just go search for me in the search bar. I should be on pretty much all of the different social media sites. You can also Google me. I should be the first 10 to 15 results there as well. Or I've made it really simple, and you can just find it in the show notes here. You will see my link tree, and that will have all the different places that you can find the podcast on the different platforms that you want to listen to it, and I will have the different social media links on there as well. So if you could, make sure that you do me a favor and rate and review this podcast. The more people that do that, the more likely I am to be recommended to somebody else, and I would just love to see this show grow. I thank you guys for everything that you do, for all the people that do tune in and listen to this. And like I said at the beginning, I hope that the ones who tuned in to hear the Colby Jenkins episode, like I said at the beginning of the show, I hope that the people who tuned in to hear the Colby Jenkins episode liked what they heard, and I hope that you do come back and listen to some of the other episodes that I'm going to be having coming up, and maybe go back and listen to some of my old episodes as well. I've got some pretty cool ones out there that I think you guys would really enjoy hearing. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to If You Give a Dad a Podcast. Hit the notification bell wherever it is you're listening, so you are notified when a new episode drops of this show. So, we've come to the end of another awesome episode, and I just want to say thank you to everyone who tuned in this week and listened to this show. But it is time for Billy's favorite part of the episode, and that is Dad Joke of the Week. I'm going to do a wrestling-based one, since me and him talked about wrestling. What was the WWE chef's favorite move? The souplex.
So what do you think about that dad joke, Billy?
Well, they're pretty bad. I don't know where he gets these dad jokes from, but the government needs to disable that website, because sometimes they make my head hurt.
Did you stroke out?
Let me press my life alert button.
All right. I love you guys. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you next time. Bye.
I'm in my room rounded, but I got a podcast on. He calls us beautiful people, then tells us who we have on. The best part of my day, though we're blocked out in my pods. Tell my friends all about it so that they follow along. And the host is kinda nerdy, but guess what, I am as well. I don't feel so alone, and I began walking out of my shell. Heard a story, I need a connection I haven't felt. I'll be looking for the next one, till then farewell. It's the podcast for me. Have it on, better go see. And listen closely. Download and tune in remotely. It's the podcast for me. Have it on, better go see. And listen closely. Download and tune in remotely.
This podcast is part of the OIW Podcasting Network.
Wait.
Can you put a timer up here?